Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, where we review stories that beautiful people like yourselves post on the internet. We got a couple of stories for you today. The first story's title goes like this. Am I the a-hole for wanting my husband to start paying more for our housing? Hi all, for reference, I am 29 female and my husband is 30 male. We've been together since I was 20 and got married when I was 26. When we moved in together when I was 25, we were splitting our rent evenly. I was making $65K and he was making $80K, and we live in a large US city. It didn't really make a huge difference in my budget versus his to split the rent 50-50 for $2,600 a month of rent. However, things have changed. I got pregnant a few months after we got married, which we were so happy about and wanted. I didn't want to not work, but I wanted to be home with our baby, so I found a full-time remote job in my field of work. The downside is I took a cut to my salary from $65K to $50K. We continued to split the rent in our apartment. My husband, between being 26 and 30, has received a number of raises and has switched his job. He is now a senior business analyst, making roughly $195K a year. Since we were having a child, we were going to need a bigger apartment. We found a 3-bedroom for $4,000K per month. He still wanted to split rent evenly despite my protests. In the end, I sort of let myself get walked over because he really is such a smooth talker and I do love him. Anyway, flash forward 2.5 years, our rent has increased to $4,400K. My take-home pay monthly after taxes is roughly $36K. I am paying $2.2K monthly in rent. I am also taking care of our baby and our home, doing chores and cooking daily. My husband works from 8 to 6, but typically doesn't get home until 7. I am burnt out. I barely have enough money per month to do the things I enjoy. I feel like I'm financially struggling while my husband is living a life of luxury. Yes, he does take me out on dates and on vacation, but he doesn't seem to understand that that is not enough for me. I spoke to him 2 days ago very seriously, and when I asked about trying to split the rent based on our income and pay an equal percentage of our income, so that it is more than fair than fully equal, his reaction stunned me. He asked me why having 1.6 extra a month wasn't enough for me. I told him I'm not saving anything. He told me I should spend less on extracurricular activities, which makes me laugh, because what extracurricular activities? All I do is work, cook, clean, shop for the house, and raise our child. I told him I am basically working 2 full-time jobs at once and I need help. Then, he asked me if I was suggesting he pay me for being a mother, and that stunned me. I really had no response to that. Anyway, he told me that this is the lifestyle we agreed when we moved in together way back when. However, he doesn't seem to understand, or rather, does not want to understand. Now he is mad with me because he thinks I am being selfish, and has been acting cold towards me these past few days. I am getting the itch to apologize and take it back like I always do, but I really feel I am right here. Am I the a-hole? Thank you all for all the responses. I can honestly say I did not expect to get this feedback. I am honestly overwhelmed and cannot reply to all of you, especially while I am working, but I wanted to update some things here. I love my husband with all my heart, and it's heartbreaking for me to read these comments and realize that I am being taken advantage of. I need to figure out the best way to approach the issue and solve it before it gets too far. I want to work this out, and the fear of being alone is haunting me. Yes, I did sign a prenup that was overseen by his family attorney. My husband comes from extreme wealth, and I was young and stupid and went with it. Head over heels like my mother always said I was. As for his family, we get along great and they love me. It's very confusing because they are such incredibly generous people, and they are family. But they don't know about our financial situation because my husband and I believe that our marriage is private, and I would feel like I was betraying him by telling them. I'm sorry I cannot reply to all of you, but please know I am reading all the comments and making a plan of approach with them. For those talking about the dates and vacations bit that he pays for, I have asked him numerous times to help lighten the financial load instead of going on these trips and dates, and he has refused. He said he can do what he wants with his money, and if he wants to take us on a vacation, that is what he will pay for. If I could afford vacation, I would pay. In fact, when we were in a more even financial situation, unmarried, no kids, I paid for almost all of our vacations and dates because I love to treat people, and I can't do that anymore. I also do not have bad spending habits. I worked my way out of my student loan debt in 2 years after graduating. I saved $60K by the time we got married, and I have that all in my retirement, which I am thankful for because I can no longer contribute to it. This has nothing to do with how I spent. I'm actually pretty frugal when it comes to shopping, especially since I prefer to keep things cheap for my budget. Not the a-hole. Married people with children who keep separate bank accounts and argue about who pays for what are weird. You're not roommates. That is exactly what I'm trying to say. Not to mention that he is the sole beneficiary of his millionaire parents. I came from poverty and worked to get to where I am. I do try to keep that out of the arguments though, as that is his business and not ours. I just want to make it clear, I am no gold digger here. I did choose to work, but it also makes me wonder, if I didn't work, if he'd help me at all. Not the a-hole, but it sure sounds like he is. And I have to say, this segregation of money is not working for y'all. If you want to do it the fair way, while not combining finances, then do it by percentage of income. But the fact that you can't both sit down and discuss this calmly is very troubling. Marriage is a team endeavor, and the two of you are each playing solo. Trust me, I have tried to explain this to him, but then he goes off about gold digging and how just because he will have millions in inheritance doesn't mean that I shouldn't work for what I have. I agree on working for what I have. I always have done so. I come from poverty, where my parents made nearly $30K a year for 4 kids in New York State, Long Island. Not easy, but he doesn't seem to get that we cannot live up to his lifestyle if he wants it to be this way. Not the a-hole. You took a cut in pay and a significant step back in your career for a shared decision, which means that the burden needs to be shared equally, not the payment, the burden. Look up equality versus equity. When you were making similar amounts of money, 50% worked. Now that you're not, and you've taken on significantly more at home work, it very much isn't even close to that. Given that your husband is making 4 times what you are at this point, this system doesn't make a lick of sense, especially with you taking on greater responsibility in child rearing and home care, which I'm writing out just so that's clear. But the bigger problem is that this was even an issue in the first place. He's your husband, your life partner, emphasis on partner. Your health and happiness and well-being should be his concern, and in fact, as important to him as his own. Seeing you struggling and overburdened isn't just his responsibility. He should be horrified that the person he loves is feeling this way, and if he has the means to alleviate it, as is to a greater degree the source of it, since he insisted on the more expensive digs, the answer should be to immediately do something to help you. Not fight that you don't deserve the help. That is counter to the very idea of a life partner, a husband, someone you love. The apologize and take it back like I always do is very, very worrying here, because it sounds like you've never actually made him change his mind or change his behavior, that he's never actually listened to your needs like a partner should, or make adjustments, or consider your side. All of these are super worrying, and when you add it to the above, a definite red flag. I've been married for 5 years, together with my significant other for 10, and the very idea of letting them suffer when I have the financial means to take care of things is absolutely baffling and heartbreaking to me. How could you and your child not be the thing worth most to him in the world? What better things does he have to spend his money on than his life mate and his offspring? I sincerely apologize for taking so long to return to Reddit and write an update to this. A lot has happened since. For those who don't know, this post was originally written at the end of February of 2020. The world, therefore, after fell apart. Things were not good with me and my husband at the time of this post. I want to preface this by saying that we are still together to this day, and we've welcomed a new child to the world, this time in a much healthier environment. COVID changed a lot for me. Along with the intense vitality of the last post, neither my husband nor I got laid off or furloughed, and we were and are so thankful, but my husband moved to work from home. That perspective shift changed a lot for him when he said what I had to deal with day to day, things I could never properly communicate about how difficult it is to work while raising a child, and what I brought to the table that he could never see. Despite his newfound appreciation for me, I still found myself resenting him. It was in June that I finally proposed that we go to couples counseling, after doing my own virtual therapy sessions since March, from which I learned about why I let people step over me based on my childhood and past, and how to overcome that. To my surprise, my husband agreed, and so we've been in weekly counseling since, even to this day. It helped him get to the root of his fears and address why he has trouble trusting me financially, which had less to do with me and more to do with what he was brought up believing and had been instilled with. After coming to the point of telling him I wouldn't want to continue building a family or a life with him, where he watched me struggle from luxury, with the help of our amazing counselor who guided us, my husband was willing to adjust our lifestyle to be more equal. I'm not saying everything was or is magically perfect. I know people wanted an update where I left my evil husband and took my baby to start a new life, but I did marry this man for a reason. I saw the good, and past the struggle we've had to overcome, he's become the man I knew I'd married. We now have a joint bank account as well as our own on the side. We each put 2/3 of our income into the shared account and get to keep 1/3 for ourselves. I am in a new job now and making much more money than in the original post. Not that this affects the relationship, but so people know, my 1/3 is enough for me to enjoy. It's still a road to recovery, but we have more trust between us and are no longer living on a 50-50 lifestyle. Again, I'm sorry for not updating sooner, but the past few years have been a lot for us and everyone. Thank you all for all of your support and advice. I promise I wouldn't be sitting here typing this without it. While I am glad that he has changed his ways, I do hope this also means he is finally contributing to household chores, cooking and childcare, because him expecting you to do all that was a huge part of the equation in many people thinking this marriage could not be saved. I also hope you consider bringing up both pack pay of sorts that could go into your retirement account, because you were at such an extreme disadvantage for so long, or agree to a post-op. Because if things do not work out in the end, which I sadly fear may still be the case, you are going to be completely screwed in this situation the way things stand. And there's no making up for all that lost time when it comes to your retirement account. Congratulations that things are getting better. I'm very glad to hear that your husband was willing to try therapy, and it's had such a significant impact on your lives. Raising children is hard 24/7 work, and I think until someone is exposed to the chaos of that, it can be hard to appreciate. It sounds like COVID was an odd blessing for you. One story on Reddit can possibly encapsulate an entire relationship. So, it's lovely to hear that you still have love between you, and that therapy has helped to heal what was pulling you apart. Good luck for the future. I wish you and your family all the very best. Before continuing to the second story, I want to remind you all to please go to the like button's house and cover it all with toilet paper. Second story, am I the a-hole for despising my mentally handicapped sister? My sister is severely autistic. She requires attention almost 24/7 and cannot be left alone. She is nonverbal and cannot take care of herself at all. Despite the fact that she is only 12, she is extremely destructive and violent and destroys anything she gets her hands on. I hate her. That should be wrong to say, but it doesn't feel like it. I was only 6 years old when she was born, and since then, I've never solely had my parents' attention. Even since I can remember, the world has revolved around her. I was moved out of my room into the basement at 7 because she needed to be in the room next to my parents. All of my toys as a child were destroyed by her, and my parents simply ignored me when I complained. Even when I was 14 and she destroyed a mag my school gave me, I was in the wrong. Along with this, I am expected to take care of her and drop everything I do for her. I can never make plans with friends because my parents expect me to be there if they need me to take care of her. Even when I do somehow get time for myself, I am required to leave if they need me. If I do not, then I am punished. The recent example of this is when I went to see the new Spider-Man movie and was quote-unquote grounded because I turned my phone off in the theater. It seems as if I'm nothing more than a slave to them, and anything involving her simply overshadows me. This last week, I was chosen to give a speech at a school event. I was so excited, and my parents promised to be there, but they never showed and claimed it was because of my sister. Anytime anything like this happens for me, they are too busy with her. I've held this in for so long, and it finally spilled out today. While talking about colleges with my father, he joked that I should get a degree that pays well, so that when they're gone, I can take care of my sister. I don't know why, but this caused me to break down. I cried and screamed about how it's always about her. I'm nothing more than a caretaker to them. That they always make it about her and that I'm expected to be her slave for the rest of my life. I've locked myself in my room since then, and my parents have not come to check on me. Am I the a-hole here? Wow, thank you for all of your support and love that you guys have given me. I never expected this post to reach the popularity it did. Thank you all. After thinking about it for these past hours, you are right that I don't despise my sister. It's not her fault that she was born the way she is. My parents came to talk to me a while after my breakdown, but I was unable to bring myself to talk to them and only cried and asked them to leave. They have made arrangements with my grandfather for me to stay with him for the time being, and I'm getting ready to go to his house. My parents want to talk to me, but we have decided it's best I leave for now, to have some space and time to collect myself. We will be sitting down and talking later this week about this issue. Thank you all again for the love and support through this. I'll send an update you guys' way later this week, if people are interested. Not the a-hole. These are perfectly legitimate and understandable feelings. You have done nothing to sign up for taking care of another human being. It's not like she's your kid. And that was wrong of your dad to quote-unquote joke about, because it sounds like he probably is really thinking along those lines. Be honest with your parents about how you feel. Make clear that it's insane that you're expected to be a full-time babysitter. Grounded for no phone in a theater? That's effing BS. Not the a-hole, but this is a parent problem, not a sister problem. I am a parent of one autistic child and one neurotypical child, and I will tell you that we would never treat our NT child like his role is to take care of his sister. If she ruins his stuff, we replace it. We have also given him some separate space with a lock so that we can prevent her getting into his stuff. Now, if he leaves it out, that's another story, but we try our best. Are there ways in which having a sister with a disability still might suck for him? Of course. We're a family, and what impacts one tends to impact us all. But we try to mitigate that, and at least sympathize when we can't. We also make sure that he benefits in whatever ways we can, like the fact that he has never had to wait in a long line at an amusement park because of her skip-in line pass. It sounds like your parents haven't done any of this, and have, in fact, made everything worse for you. That is not your sister's fault. She can't help who she is, and at only 12, she is still learning and growing, and you may still have a great relationship once you both are adults. Your parents, on the other hand, should have done better by you. The brunt of your anger belongs on them. Not the a-hole, I am going to tell you something that I hope you will think about, and I will gladly take any downvotes. Your sister will always come first, and you will always be expected to be the caretaker. You will need to break free of this as soon as you can. Move to another state or country after college. For as long as you will be in their house, it will be their rules, and they will continue forcing the caretaking down your throat. You are not her caretaker. They are, and they need to be solemnly responsible for her care, so you can work on your life while you are young. Life comes at you fast. You only have around 85 to 90 summers on average. I understand where you're coming from though, because whenever your sister did something bad, it got blamed on her autism as a get-out-of-trouble-free card. She can't help it, she has autism. She doesn't know what she's doing, she has autism. You need to watch your stuff so she doesn't get to it because she has autism. While it is their absolute lack of responsibility, discipline, and routine that allowed this behavior. Well, since that day I made the post, I've been staying with my grandfather. The week's been honestly a huge change for me, for better and for worse, but I'll try to run it down. I started by telling my grandpa the story of why I broke down the way I did, and to be honest, he seemed horrified. No one in my family knew my parents were using me as essentially a free care service for my sister. My grandpa told me things that I don't feel comfortable repeating here, but in essence, my sister is quote-unquote supposed to be getting care from a professional, and that my parents were ignoring that. Along with this, I was not supposed to be caring for her at all with her mental state, as apparently she is a danger to herself and others. With everything else I told him, along with stuff like the movie Indecency, he was really mad and told me not to contact my parents without him there. He pretty much told me that he would be meeting with my parents beforehand and that he was going to be there when I sat down with them. It didn't end here either. The rest of the week consisted of other family checking in on me and telling me things my parents hid from me. This included the fact that my parents have been taking money from family to fund a caretaker that doesn't exist. Suffice to say, This week has been rough, but the upside is that even through all of this, my extended family has been giving me more love than I've felt in a while. My grandfather spent this last week making up for the time I've lost, encouraging me to spend time with my friends and do things I want to do. My aunts and uncles have also been helping me through the week. Well, Saturday night, I sat down with my parents to talk. It went badly to say the least. They came clean to me about everything. They told me things I will not repeat here, but they did not apologize. My parents still claimed that I somehow owed my sister my time. My father even saying, "You were put here to be her caretaker." I won't lie and say I was composed. After everything I learned, I confronted them on the fact that my sister needed a caretaker, the money my dad was taking from his sister, and a few other things. They denied it or made excuses, and in the end, we ended up in a worse place than before. Today will be my last time talking to them for a while. After talking with my grandfather and uncle last night, I'm not going back. Later today, I'm going there and picking up my stuff and moving in with my grandfather. When I graduate high school, I'm planning on leaving the state to go to school. My aunt has told me that the money she was sending my dad will instead be coming to me from now on. My parents have called me twice on Saturday. Neither of them were to apologize and only ask when I was coming home. I won't be going back to them. Right now, I still feel pretty uneasy about everything, but feel like that will pass. The rest of my family is showing their support to me, and honestly, it feels great. But in the end, I lost my parents. Over all of this, I've learned something that I wish I saw earlier. I don't hate my sister. In fact, I love her with all of my heart. I should never have projected my hate onto her. That was wrong, and someday I hope to make up for it. But for now, I need to leave. So there's my update. Thanks again for the support my original post got. I really appreciate everyone who took the time to comment or show me support. Thanks to you. Thank you all so much. I wish I could respond to every single one of you, but my lunch only lasts so long. I'll update tonight how the move out went, but until then, thank you all. I want to say that your support has been amazing, and your kindness means more to me than anyone could ever imagine. Wow, I never imagined my story would reach the popularity it did. I know it's kinda cliche, and I've said it 1,000 times, but thank you all. We just got back from moving my things out of my parents' house. Everything I wanted to take my grandpa and uncle helped me move, and it's all in my grandpa's house now. I have my birth certificate, social security card, and every other document and record I could think of. My parents were quiet the whole time I was there. Shortly after I arrived, my dad left with my sister, and my mom only hovered over us silently as we moved. It took a while, but as we left, she broke down and told me that she loved me and would miss me. I hugged her and said goodbye, and that was it. Even now I sit here and think if she really meant it. After this whole week of her not saying anything, she waited till the end. I hope she meant it. Right now though, I think I just need to look ahead. Maybe one day, me and my parents can reconnect. And I hope so. Thank you all for the advice and love. It's been amazing, and I'm glad that through this experience, I at least got some positive out of this mess. Will I come back? I don't know. If something happens and you guys still want an update, I'll maybe come around again. But for now, I'm going to move on. For all those out there who share their stories with me, thank you, and I hope to see you on the other side. See you, Space Cowboys. This update is a needed one. My heart broke reading your original post. While things aren't on great terms with your immediate family, it truly warms my heart to see that your extended family is going through great lengths to make up for the lost time. While your road ahead may be dark and bumpy, know you have a lot of love surrounding you, here and with your extended family. We're all rooting for you. Go, enjoy your freedoms, and be loved. I'm surprised as well. My family has never been on great terms with my extended family. That's what I was told by my dad. Turns out it was a lie. My mom and dad didn't like taking advice from the family, so they cut them out. This past week has been amazing, as I'm reconnecting with my family. The love they give me is amazing, and the support I've gotten from here is really great too. Guys, that was it for today's stories. Thank you very much for listening today. Please remember to smash that like button for me, and please subscribe to our channel to keep listening to these stories. Thank you for all of your support, guys. We will be seeing you in the next one.